months back, while I was taking the financial awareness program for the Indian Army, a Jawan had raised his hand and stood in front of me, and he asked me, "Ma'am, you talk about constructing a financial portfolio for yourself. On the first of the month, the salary gets credited to my bank account. On the second of the month, my kids start asking me for buying them a watch, or my wife starts asking me for doing some sort of a shopping or going out for dinner. On the third of the month, the home loan EMI gets debited. On the fourth, the car loan EMI. On the fifth, the utility bills. On the sixth, the education fee. On the seventh, I am left with zero balance. How do I start my investments?" Hello everyone, this is Shalini Gera, Certified Financial Planner. If your salary is between the range of 50,000 rupees per month to 1 lakh rupees per month and you are wondering about how to start your investment portfolio, then this video is going to be relevant to you. I will explain with an example what part of your income should be going towards your monthly investments and what part should be going towards planning your wants as well as needs. If this is the process that you are going through, then you definitely need to bring a change in your thought process. And that is how you will get started on your investment portfolio. The change should be that on day one, your salary is getting credited. On day two, you are automating your investments. This step is very important. Ensure that up to 40% of your monthly investments are going into SIPs. Now, more on these SIPs later, but first of all, try to maximize your investments to 40%. If 40% is not possible and you have a lot of home loan or other loan obligations, try and maximize this amount. Do 20%, do 30%, but do what is possible. Try and make a start. Once you make a start, then you will be able to construct an investment portfolio for yourself. So अब आपने अपना 40% अपने monthly investments के लिए automate कर दिया, तो बाकी बचा हमारा 60%. अब इस 60% में आपको अपने wants and needs define करनी है. So on the third of the month, you should have your EMIs getting debited. On the fourth of the month, you should have your utility bills getting debited. On the fifth of the month, you should have your kids' tuition fee getting debited. On the sixth, from what is left, then you should be planning all of your wants as well as desires. That is the process that you need to bring about for yourself. Let's take up an example and describe all the rules for this 40% investment portfolio that we had talked about. Now remember that your financial portfolio is going to be a function of your financial goals, your risk appetite, as well as your return expectations. Please approach a registered investment advisor who is going to construct a personalized portfolio for yourself. This is a generalized guideline on how to create an investment portfolio if your salary is between the range of 50,000 to 1 lakh rupees per month. Let's assume that there is person A who is earning 50,000 rupees per month. 50,000 may say 40%, that means 20,000 rupees per month is automated towards this investment. Now, how to construct an investment portfolio from this 20,000 rupees per month? Step number one, you should diversify your investments in equity, debt, as well as gold. Equity is going to be responsible for your long-term wealth creation, for your long-term financial goals. Debt is going to give you capital protection and will provide you cushion for your short-term financial goals, and gold will provide you a hedge against inflation. Step number two, create a mutual fund portfolio for yourself. Instead of thinking about bigger asset classes such as real estate or very, very difficult to comprehend asset classes such as cryptocurrency, go for a simpler asset class like mutual funds. Why? Because you have a professional fund manager who understands securities very well. They will be in a position to decide which securities to buy, which securities to sell at what point of time. So your mutual fund portfolio should consist of 5 different funds, and I'll give the reason behind each and every fund. The first fund is large caps. Large caps means that you are buying stocks from the top 100 companies listed in India. These companies would be ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, Infosys, TCS, etc. The fund manager will buy any of these stocks. These stocks are going to provide you with financial stability. The second and third types of mutual funds that you should be holding in your portfolio are mid cap and small cap mutual funds. These are important for wealth creation. Why? Because large cap companies will be restricted to a range of about 12 to 20% per annum. If you look at the return given by Nifty in the past 10 years, you're looking at a 12% per annum return. So large cap companies will hover between a 12 to 20% return, not more than that. Instead, if you're looking at returns larger than this, then you should consider going into mid caps as well as small cap mutual funds. The fourth kind of asset class or mutual fund that you should be having in your portfolio is hybrid funds. Hybrid funds are very important for your portfolio. They are to be used, one, strategically during market corrections, and two, they can also be utilized for emergency fund creation. Let's talk about this strategic deployment first of all. Hybrid funds mean that you are investing into a combination of equity, debt, gold, or other possible commodities. How we recommend to utilize it is as follows. If there is a steep market correction, markets will continue to give you those opportunities. Another important way in which you should be utilizing your hybrid funds is to create an emergency fund. We recommend that you should have at least 6 months of your expenses allocated towards an emergency fund, which you can utilize towards health emergency or car repair emergency or anything of this sort. So in this case, if the monthly salary is 50,000 rupees, then 30,000 is the per month expense, and at least 1.8 lakh rupees, that is 6 times the monthly expense, should be allocated towards an emergency fund. How you can do so is allocate at least 10 to 20% of your monthly SIPs towards the emergency fund creation, and this could be in either a hybrid mutual fund or a debt mutual fund. The fifth and final part of your mutual fund portfolio is going to be global mutual funds. Global mutual funds are relevant towards your portfolio for 3 reasons. First of all, they give you the impact of geopolitical diversification. It is as good as investing in another asset class altogether. If the Indian markets are corrected due to a geopolitical factor, chances are that this part of your mutual fund portfolio, which is allocated towards global mutual funds, is not going to be very significantly impacted. This is because Indian markets and global markets are not directly correlated. That is, they will not necessarily move in the same direction at the same time. We recommend that you should have not more than 10% of your equity portfolios in global mutual funds. So in this case, if you are investing 20,000 rupees per month into equity, then not more than 2,000 rupees should be going towards global mutual funds. The second reason why you should be holding global mutual funds is that they give you access to some very good quality international stocks. These could be Microsoft, Tesla, Amazon, Meta, Nvidia. So without you having to put your brains into researching international stocks in the US markets, a fund manager will decide for you which is the relevant stock to be purchased at what point of time. The third and more strategic reason for you to invest into global mutual funds is that they give you the impact of INR depreciation. Since you are investing in INR, but this currency is getting converted to US dollar and is ultimately being invested in US dollar, whenever you withdraw, your returns are the net or the total of the global stocks return added with the INR depreciation. So if the stock is giving you a 15% return and the INR depreciation factor is 5%, then the net return that you get is 20%. Interesting, isn't it? Now that you've created your mutual fund portfolio, see if you have an additional risk appetite or not. If an additional risk appetite is present, approach a SEBI registered investment advisor and ask them to construct a stock portfolio as well for you. This is important because the RIA will be able to decide whether you should be getting into large cap stocks, mid cap stocks, flexi cap stocks, small cap stocks at this point of time or not. You can look at dividing your monthly surplus or monthly investment portfolio of 20,000 rupees into 2 parts. You could be doing it as 10,000 or as per your risk capacity. Finally, when you have constructed your investment portfolio, it is time to do a goal mapping. It is time to map each and every asset class to an individual goal. This is very important so that you don't end up utilizing the wrong asset for the wrong financial goal. Let's assume that you have arbitrarily started investing into equity as an asset class without any financial goals, and 1 or 2 years later you decide to buy a car with these investments. Now 2 years later the equity markets correct by 10%. So let's assume you invested 1 lakh rupees. This amount is going to get corrected to 90,000, giving you capital erosion for a financial goal that you have right now. That is why it's very important to map each and every asset class to a different financial goal which is relevant to that asset class. So your financial goals should be divided into 3 different parts. That is long-term financial goals such as retirement, your kids' education planning, kids' marriage planning. These could be mid-term financial goals such as a car planning. These could be short-term financial goals such as emergencies or for a vacation plan. With this, we complete the recommended investment portfolio for a salary range of 50,000 rupees to 1 lakh rupees per month. Do let us know what you thought of this video. Also, let us know on what other asset classes or financial topics would you want us to talk about. This is Shalini Gera. You take care of yourself. Bye-bye.